Good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Sport Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel and I'm very happy to be here this evening to bring you up to speed with the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports. Top on our menu this evening, we shall take a look at the UEFA Super Cup encounter between Real Madrid and Atalanta, as well as the latest in the beautiful world for transfers. It promises to be another exciting edition of the show, and we urge you to sit tight as we have a lot to unravel on tonight's edition. We'll take a short break and we'll come back from the break. Of course, we'll keep you up to speed with the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports at the moment. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Sport Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network, and of course on today's edition I have with me Mike. Good evening to you and welcome to the show.
It's okay. Evening to you, Kingsley, and good evening to our viewers out there.
All right, Mike, let's take a look at the situation of things concerning Team Nigeria. We'll continue to bring you a reaction from the aftermath of the Paris Olympic Games, and talking about reaction today. Musa Kida, president of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, has confirmed that Rena Wakama will continue as the head coach of the Tigers following their historic performance at the Paris 24 Olympics. In an interview, Kida praised Wakama, the first female head coach of the Tigers, for her remarkable achievements under Wakama's leadership. The Tigers won the 2023 Afro Basketball and secured the Olympic qualification in February. Wakama's achievements were acknowledged by FIBA when she was named the best coach at the Paris 24 Olympic game. And with this impressive performance and feats at the Paris Olympic game, Musa Kida came out to say that Rena Wakama, of course, will continue her job as the coach of the Tigers of Nigeria. Michael.
Yeah, expectedly for me, it's never in doubt. Her position is never in doubt whether she's going to continue as a head coach of the Tigers, because it is not something that we even start deliberating. I just think that Musa Kida want to hug the headline. That is just that, because if not for him hugging the headline, was her position ever in doubt that she was going to lose her place after an impressive show at the Afro Basketball Championship in here in Africa, where she actually tinkered the girl to go winning us the Afro Basketball Championship here in Africa before even qualifying us for the Olympic game. Then going to the Olympic game and breaking record, becoming the first African country, both male or female, to make it to the quarterfinal of the basketball event. So for me, her position is never in doubt. She has done pretty good job within the little space of time that he has been there. So, like I said, everybody acknowledged her impressive show, and it would have been a disastrous one or even a shocking news to hear that her position is in doubt, which was never in doubt. So, like I said, I think Musa Kida just want to hug the headline.
Musa Kida, of course, according to Michael, looking forward to all the headlines to say. But just like Michael mentioned down there, never in doubt, Rena Wakama merits that position. Talking about the coaching role of the D Tigers, taking a look at what she's done so far. First female basketball team, of course, for D Tigers, and it's been a remarkable feat so far. And we'll see what, of course, she'll be able to do with this side going forward. I think the future is very bright for Rena Wakama. Where you take a look at her prowess and what she's been able to do so far for the girls. Let's stay away from that as we hear that Nigerian high jumper Temitope Adesina has turned her attention away from the disappointing 2024 Olympics outing in Paris, setting a target of 2.05 meters for herself in the event next season. Adesina, who is the current national record holder indoor and outdoor, did not make the final of the event, which was won by Ukraine Yaroslava Mechek in Paris. Her Olympic debut ended in the qualifying round after missing her attempt at 1.92 meters. She had comfortably scaled 1.83 meters and 1.88 meters on a second attempt before bowing out. The three-time national champion reflected on her performance in Paris, noting that it would be her driving force as she hoped to scale higher heights next season. Michael, what do you make of it? Temitope Adesina trying to, of course, let go the disappointment in Paris and focus on subsequent competition.
Yeah, for me, I think the disastrous show of Team Nigeria in this year's edition of the Olympic Game is worth forgetting because it's not a good outing for us. From different angle that you want to look at it, parading the highest athletes since in the history of Nigeria taking part in the Olympic Game, 88 athletes without winning even a single medal. I think it is one tournament that we need to forget about, erase it away from the memory of the athletes and from Nigerians as a whole, and look forward towards positive impacts in the near future for the next Olympic Game. So for me, for the athletes, they are also disappointed as well, not being able to at least do the nation proud. But we are even more disappointed with the Sport Ministry and the Nigerian Olympic Committee and even Athletic Federation of Nigeria. So I think the athletes, I feel their pains as well after doing a lot individually to ensure that at least you are able to represent your country in the highest sporting event. But then at the end of it all, it didn't actually pan out as we expected, or as some of the athletes who were hoping to at least make the country proud expected. So for me, I think it truly needs to get over this poor performance and focus on the next task that lies ahead of her.
What do you make of it? Talking about long jump event, this is an event that will not really major on for some time. Since 2018, Nigeria has not really done much when it has to do with long jump. We've only, focus more on high jump, at this point in time. What do you make of it? Temitope Adesina, she made her debut in the Paris Olympic Game, of course, in the high jump event, which to say that we don't really have talent when it has to do with, the high jump. Maybe we have and not been able to discover it, to discover them for some time now. I don't know what you make of it. Do you see high jump to be one of for those areas we can possibly measure on and maybe see what we can do in subsequent competitions?
There is no sports that we cannot measure on, maybe exception of curling or hockey. And the reason because we don't have the conducive environment. You talk about hockey that is being played where there is a little bit of heavy snow out there. And for hockey, I think we also have what it takes to make it a major, but then we have not also been able to exploit those areas. So there's no sport generally that I want to say that Nigeria doesn't have what it takes to excel in those areas. It's just that our administrators...
Do we have what it takes to also engage in breakdance? Because we saw breakdance at the Olympic Games too.
You need to go to the street and see how kids are even breakdancing more than even Michael Jackson. You know, so for me, Nigerians, we've got talent cut across every strata of sport. It's just about giving them the platform to express their God-given talent and give them the needed support as well. Also providing the adequate and requisite training facilities for these, you know, athletes to also to train upon and improve on their skills. So for me, long jump, we have what it takes, but then are we really ready to develop it? Even the normal short jump, how have we developed it? In other areas of sport, have we been able to fare well, not to start focusing on the high jump? Of course, sport development should be holistic. We should not maybe pay much attention to football, basketball, and leave the rest. Of course, if you head to the Olympic game, if you are taking part in football event, you just won medal alone, while other sports have different medals. Swimming, for example, you have about 13 different categories in swimming that you can also amass medals, ranging from different you know, stages. But football is just only one. Even the long jump, yes, the long jump that will qualify, about three of the Nigerians qualify for the final. And then now there are about 12 finalists. 3 were Nigerians, 2 or 3 as well were United States of America. We couldn't win anything. But guess what? United States of America, they won 1 gold and 1 silver. You know, thereby making their present count and their numerical number, you know, also counts as well. So for me, it's just a total disappointing outing that we have. But then the big question, do we have what it takes to make long jump our own specialty in times, high jump, to make it a own specialty? Of course we do.
Because the reason why I asked was because you take a look at the fact that other African countries that went down to the Olympic game, they really relied on where they have strengths. Like for instance, Kenya, they major more on the long distance races. Even Botswana, that even got that even did well. They won four medals at the end of the day at the Olympic game. Botswana were able to measure on the 200 meters. They were able to measure on the 4x400 meters as well, which Tobago was very, very instrumental for those medals. Of course, we saw. You take a look at Uganda as well. I think Kenya also not, Ethiopia not also left out of it. These, you know, countries were able to measure on some sport that they have a little bit of strength. Even Morocco didn't do so well, but you could say area of like football, they were at least, they took a bronze medal at the end of the day, and some other, you know, medals they were able to rack up at the, you know, before the Olympic came to an end. So that's what I'm saying. Should we look at those areas that we can possibly find strength whenever we go out for competition like this? Maybe wrestling, maybe football, maybe basketball. We're a strong force to reckon with when it has to do with basketball. You know, weightlifting at some points as well. Boxing, understand, just gradually coming back to limelight. So I don't know. Do you think we should channel our strengths to maybe some of this sport we're a little bit familiar with or have much strength whenever we're going for competition? And not going to we're going to participate in 12 sports, and at the end of the day we'll come back without a medal. Maybe you could attribute it to poor preparation or maladministration. But focusing on, even though it's 5 sports, you know, do you think we can, what are those sports you think we can measure on, or you think it's a good idea just to focus on maybe a few sports, and or probably you think we should go in all round, at least maybe possibly we can get medals from so many sports if we choose to at the end of the day?
You can't actually begin to limit or narrow down the chances of Nigeria excelling in other different areas of sports, and maybe narrowing it down to 5-2. Saying that is your areas of strength.
Because that's what other countries, that's what they do.
No, that is not what they do. If other countries do that, the country you mentioned, Ethiopia, Kenya, Zimbabwe, and the rest of them, when Botswana, you say they major on a certain sport, I think it is one out of many is one out of many. And what is their strength? Even if they major in some of the sport that you think they have areas of comparative advantage.
Kenya alone racked up about 11 medals.
11 medals in the long distance race. Is it only in the long distance race?
No, only in the long distance race. But I don't think Kenya they participated in about 12 sports in the Olympics.
And so it doesn't.
They had even few contingent that team Nigeria.
Yes, and they still did well. But take a look at Nigeria and Kenya. We are well apart on our own. The strength, the numerical strength, the population alone is something that is of that should be of an advantage to us as a country. So, as big as Nigeria, as big as a country, and as big as their talent that we have here, you want to narrow it down to 5 sports or 4 sports so that we can be able to do well and win medals at the Olympic Games. What if we develop the sport holistically? The likes of China, the likes of US, Canada, what are they doing differently? Do they just major in 1 or in 5 sports? How many medals can you be able to rack up in an Olympic game when you major it?
We're looking at the next Olympic that comes in 2028 in Los Angeles, in United States of America.
And the plan now should be to narrow down our...
And you talk about China, you talk about United States of America, maybe Great Britain or Australia that made, I think, the top 5 or top 10 in the medals table. These are countries that they are already made. They have the best of facilities. That talk about the next Olympic that comes in 2028, they don't have to go start maybe building facilities to see how they can train their athlete. Their athlete probably maybe might have started training, at this point. But here in Nigeria, you have to start looking for how to start building facilities to give the athlete the best of training. You have to start looking how to put things, properly in terms of administrative wise in the country. There's a whole lot. So that's what I'm saying. If we don't have, remember the 2012 we went to the Olympics in London, we came back with no medal. The next was the Rio 2016. What were we able to do? The next was the Tokyo 2020. How many medals? Just 2 came back. To this time, none. And we always go down to this Olympic game with several going to participate in so many sports. At the end of the day, we have nothing to show for. So why, that's what Max saying. Don't you think it's good enough for we to see where we are now, major on the some sport we think we have strengths, and see what we can be, because we're looking at way forward after the abysmal outing in Paris.
I do not buy to that idea. It's more like trying to limit your strength.
You're limiting yourself because you don't have that strength. That's what I'm thinking. That's my own thoughts.
It's a parochial thought for me, and I wouldn't want to buy to such parochial ideas of trying to limit your strength of what you can do. As a country blessed with a lot of talent cut across every angle, every facet of the world, not just here in Nigeria, I want to limit the strength or capability or strength of what Nigeria stand to achieve there, thereby saying, okay, hence it is football, let us focus all our eggs in football, basketball, let's focus our eggs, weightlifting, wrestling, maybe table tennis, because these are some of the areas where you say, yeah, Nigeria have what it takes to at least excel. No. Taking a look at the enormous talent that we have across, the world, it would be very, very embarrassing and an aberration for us to start limiting our chances of the potential that we have. Instead of doing that, why not take a look at what we need to do in order to improve the facilities of other sports that is relatively unknown? I mentioned to us here a few days ago that we have other sports that is relatively unknown that we can also do well. The hammer throw, we have the Ludo, the one we play for fun here. It is also a game that you get to win new medals. And the same value of a medal that you won at football event that is one of the popular sports is the same value of gold or silver medal that you get to be given in other sport that is relatively unknown. So for me, I wouldn't want to buy the idea of, say, let's limit our strength or our potentials just because we were unable to do well compared to other countries that paraded less athletes than Nigeria. Won a lot of medals for themselves.
So what's the need of going with the highest level of contingent in Africa and still come back without a medal?
The issue is corruption within the system. We can't keep talking about this.
That's
now,
what I'm saying. In correcting everything that has happened.
In correcting it doesn't mean that we must limit our strength to areas of sport and say and pick 5 sports or even 4 for instance, and say this is our area of strength. No, you are limiting the strength and capability of what Nigeria can do out there. If not for the bad leadership of the people at the helms of affairs, why on earth should we travel to Paris with 88 athletes, but then the officials are more than 200? Now that is a food for thought for you. 88 athletes, official, over 200 athletes. They are not going there with their pocket money, with the money that comes out from their own salary. They're going out there with the taxpayers' money. So, if truly we want to develop sport, will it not be wise we prune down the numbers of officials while waiting for this Paris Olympic game? If not for greed and corruption, why on earth will you disband some members of the Nigerian basketball, of the D Tigers, who were very instrumental in the last 8 years, just because they failed to come begging on their knees and cap, just for them to be reinstated back into the team, just because they were not happy about the fact that they fought so hard to qualify for a World Cup, but because of leadership tussle, they couldn't take part in it. So I think for me, if not for most of these lapses, administrative lapses that we are facing, Nigeria is such a blessed country with a whole lot of talent that we can be able to go out there even with more than 88 athletes and still come back with something tangible as a giant of Africa. So for me, it's not about, the solution here wouldn't be about narrowing down the level of sport that we take part in and say 5, okay, that is the solution to all this malady and maladministration that we have been facing over the years in our sporting system. No, that is not. We want to correct the anomalies. We need to go back to the basis. The basis starts from the root. What is the root? We need to take a look at the constitution that governs some of these games and see how it is being run. That is where to start from. Starting from limiting the sport that we are taking part, I mean, you are already disadvantaged even before the game starts. That you have strength in other sports, just because you want to tame down some of the anomalies. So you say, okay, let us reduce this from 12 to 5. So that we're reducing it from 12 sports to 5 would have been able to help us spend the over 12 billion very well. Is that the reason?
No, it's not, that's not the aim. Reducing the sports probably, yes, to help you prepare well and be able to monitor the progress of the athlete, knowing that so athletes, so federation are getting themselves prepared, maybe for the Paris Olympic game, the World Athlete Championship, or the Commonwealth Games. It gives you that opportunity to be able to monitor your athlete very well. Even at some point, doesn't it warrant you spending huge amounts of money in conveying athletes, probably officials, down to the Olympic Games?
No, I think for me, like I will say again, let me reiterate that it is not a good idea. We are shooting ourselves on the foot even before the competition get kicked off. If we try to reduce the strength of what we can do out there, just because we want to spend less and get results.
Okay, if that's the case, let's say it goes just, of course, our own opinion down here. You've heard from Mike, you've also heard from me, and I will see what the sport ministry and different sporting federation down here in Nigeria will do. I'll look forward to see how the preparation will look like ahead of the next Olympic game. It wasn't a very good one down there in Paris, and that's why we're looking forward to see what we can do to get better. In 4 editions of the Olympics now, it's been so abysmal. We talked about the London 2012, no medal. They came back with no medal. We saw what happened in Rio 2016. In Tokyo 2020, just 2 medals. And now, you talk about the fact that we didn't come back with no medal. Really, really an abysmal. But in the last 4 editions, Team Nigeria, we've not been able to rack up 5 medals in the last 4 editions of the Olympic game. That's a very disappointing one. And for me, we should look for a solution immediately to see how all of this can be, can naturally come to an end. But Still talking about the Olympic game, flag football is one of the new sports that will be introduced at the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics. That is just alone. Like was the case with badminton, which became a scoring discipline when the U.S. hosted the Olympic in 1996 in Atlanta. 5 new sports will be incorporated into the Olympic discipline as America again hosts in 2028 in Los Angeles. Flag football is not a discipline under FIFA, but a football variant controlled by International Federation of America Football. Unlike the conventional football soccer in America, instead of tackling players to the ground in America football or rugby, the defensive team must remove a flag or flag belts from the ball carrier to end it down. The announcement of the new sports, which incidentally also implies the return of some old discipline, was made by the International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach at Sunday's closing ceremony of Paris 2024. Baseball, softball was at Tokyo 2020, but excluded at Paris 2024. It will return at the Los Angeles 2028 along with some historic disciplines. Cricket and lacrosse. Cricket has not been an Olympic sport since Paris 1900, while lacrosse featured only at the 1904 and 1908 games. Bach explained that the choice is in line with American sporting culture and will showcase iconic American sports to the world. Michael, talking about the 5 sports that will be introduced in the next Olympic, you think Team Nigeria can take advantage of any of them?
Yes,
Which of
very well. You can take advantage of them very well. If we couldn't take advantage of the ones that are still here, we can also take advantage of the ones that we have not even started learning the rules.
Flag football.
Yes. But then on a serious note, I think for United States of America, they are trying to push a course that will favor them. And of course, yeah, they've actually pushed the course to a certain point, and now it is official. And it is to their own advantage. This is why we are saying that we need people that truly can think outside the box. People who at least have focus and target. People who are thinking about how to add something new into the game that will give them an advantage, and it will still be generally acceptable. This is what US is doing. And of course, this one, it will be at their home ground at Los Angeles. It's a big advantage.
True.
And of course, before you talk about anybody else learning the skills of this kind of sport, they might have gained mastery over it. So it's going to be more like a roller coaster ride for them.
Yeah.
That is plus 1 goal in advance, even before the 2028 takes off. Then again, for Thomas Bach, I think he's a very wise man. He's trying to lay some legacy before he leaves office. Don't forget his tenure will come to an end very soon, and he has made it very clear that he's not ready to contest yet for another more years, because he wants to leave the stage. So for me, I believe he wants to set a standard. He wants to leave a legacy that after he leaves, at least this will speak in his favor. Posterity will still hold him, very high, saying that under the leadership of Thomas Bach, so sport were introduced as one of the recognized sports in an Olympic game. And I think it's a win-win situation both for Thomas Bach and for United States of America.
Win-win situation, and we'll see. But I'm still very much convinced that Nigeria, at least, we can capitalize on cricket. Cricket used to be, very strong, our strength before. Even now, I think we can possibly, of course, improve on that.
We talk about cricket here in Africa. We've made our mark and we continue to build very high. So I think it's also another advantage for Nigeria, only if we are ready to work, because it is time for us to work. So we must work. Our administrators must live up to the expectation. Let's change the narrative. We've actually, been on the limelight for the negative discussion about the fallout of the Paris Olympic game for Team Nigeria. A whole lot of cankerworm are still yet to be revealed from what we are seeing. You saw the big statement, but then let us not go there. But there are some fact that is beginning to, pop up on the reason why Team Nigeria actually had a very dismal outing, which for me I think it is one of many of the reasons that is still yet to come along.
All right, let's see how it goes. We'll take a short break now, but we'll come back. Of course, we'll take a look at the Super Cup and UEFA Super Cup encounter between Real Madrid and Atalanta tonight. Ademola Lookman is set, of course, to register his name in the history book once again. We'll talk about that when we return from this break. Stay with us. You're welcome back. Steve Sport Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. Of course, we'll bring you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sport. Time to bring you the latest from the beautiful world of football, as it's not really rosy with Victor Osimhen because what we're getting, the man, of course, is not a really happy man. But before we talk about Victor Osimhen, we have to take a look at the Super Eagles, coaching job, because it seems as if the NFF, that's the Nigerian Football Federation, they're not doing enough, to search for a new coach. Today we got to a report talking about former Nigerian international Sam Zoji. He has expressed his outrage at the Nigerian Football Federation's prolonged delay in appointing a new head coach for the Super Eagles. With the AFCON 25 qualifiers looming, so Jay described the situation as a disgrace and emphasized the negative impact it has on Nigerian football. Nearly 2 months have passed since Finidi George's departure, and the NFF has yet to make a decision, leaving the national team in limbo. The NFF has reportedly shortlisted Tom Seyfried, Eric Chelle, and Herb Renard as potential candidates, but no appointment has been made. And so George and NFF to act swiftly, suggesting that if a permanent coach cannot be appointed immediately, an interim manager should be installed to guide the team through the upcoming qualifiers. Michael is really becoming, of course, a very huge issue at the moment. The NFF yet to appoint a manager for the Super Eagles with just few weeks to the AFCON qualifiers. What do you make of the delay? What could be the reason, and how would this affect the performance of the Super Eagles in the coming AFCON qualifiers?
Well, for me, I think the delay by NFF in appointing a substantive coach for the Super Eagles is best known by Ibrahim Gusau, the NFF president. Hence, it's been weeks upon weeks when Finidi George threw in the towel, yet we are yet to have any substantive or even an interim coach. And the African Cup of Nations qualifier is by the corner, just a few weeks right now, yet no substantive coach, nor even an interim coach. I don't know what the delay is all about, but then I believe that Ibrahim Gusau and the NFF official, they clearly knows better, and they stand in a better position to tell Nigerians the reason for the delay in appointing a coach for the Super Eagles. Even the 3 Lions, talking about England, who got to the Euro final and losing it to the eventual winner, talking about Spain, when Gary Southgate threw in the towel, it wasn't up to 3 weeks or 2 weeks. They had to look for a replacement on an interim basis, pending on when they get a substantive coach. But don't forget, even Finidi George resigned months or weeks even before England went to the final of the Euro. And that is to tell you a country that is very serious, a country that listens to the yearnings of their supporters and fans there. So I think it's quite disappointing, and the impact is going to be very detrimental to Super Eagles World Cup and Nations Cup qualification aspiration as it stands right now, because bringing in an interim coach or a substantive coach at the nick of time, such coach might not have the time. In short, such coach will not might, he will not have the time to be able to help pass his own philosophy or organize these boys around to, get positive results, so that at least we climb up a bit from the tight situation we find ourselves in our group, especially in the World Cup qualifying games as well. So for me, I think the delay in appointing a permanent coach or caretaker coach for the Super Eagles is not a good one for me, especially when in the last World Cup we failed to qualify in our own backyard here. This is going to be very disastrous if we don't make it to yet another World Cup outing. It's going to be very embarrassing for a country like Nigeria. It's going to be very painful. Then for the African Cup of Nations, we still have almost the same people, the same country that we are paired against in the World Cup qualifying games. We still find them in our group in the African Cup of Nations qualifier. And these are people that have defeated us in the World Cup qualifying game. So if you take a look at it, it's going to be a very big disadvantage for us. And it is also a thing to be worried by every Super Eagles supporters out there. Sam Soje is an ex-international, one who have played the game, and you understand what these things mean. This is a professional that have applied his trade. You understand the workings of this thing, knowing fully well that if you don't have a coach preparing for such big qualifiers, it's going to affect us negatively. So I think that Ibrahim Gusau and NFF should help Nigerians, help Super Eagles supporters by making an appointment so that such coach will have time to start preparing the boys for the next task ahead.
All right, let's say it goes really a disturbing situation as regard the Super Eagles coaching job. We hope the NFF will do the needful and let's get things done and doorstep. But away from that, tonight, the Super Cup game, of course, will illuminate our screen as we see Real Madrid locking horns against Atalanta. And Atalanta forward Ademola Lookman could make history for himself in a remarkable year by becoming the 4th Nigerian player to win the UEFA Super Cup after Kanu Nwankwo, Finidi George and Celestine Babayero as the Italian side take on Real Madrid in the final in Poland tonight. So it promises to be an exciting one, Michael. First, what do you make of this encounter? You think it's going to be an easy ride for Atalanta against Real Madrid tonight?
An easy ride for Atalanta against Real Madrid? I do not think so. Of course, more like saying the opposite of what people might be expecting. An easy ride for Atalanta against a star-studded Madrid. I think it's going to be a very difficult one. It's going to be a real bone for them to crack because Real Madrid started taking a look at their squad, and their squad depth is very intimidating, you know, coming up against it with such an attack line that is full of agility, full of mobility, full of skills from every angle, right, center, and left. You know, so it's going to be a mountain hill for Atalanta to climb this evening. But then in football, you can't rule out upset. Upset abound. Of course, you saw how Atalanta, with you know, their coach Gasperini, was playing so many surprises last season. This same team defeated Liverpool at their home ground, and also went to the final to alter the unbeaten attempt by Bayern Leverkusen last season, who even before they met Atlanta had not lost a single game. So for such a team, Real Madrid, I'm thinking, should be very wary of such a team. You know, and for Atlanta, I think Lookman Ademola have a history here to make with the team as it stands right now, because having seen him scoring that quick fire, that goals in the final, which actually gifted them the game, also putting himself on the record book of being one of the players that has scored a hat-trick in an Europa final. So for me, I think with all of this going for Atalanta and Lookman, I'm thinking that Lookman Ademola is not going to look any man in the face of Madrid, be it Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo, Bellingham, name them. You know, Lookman is not going to look any man on the face this evening. He is out there to deliver on the mandate, which is banging the goals. It may not come easy. As Madrid, the attack line is very intimidating, like I said, but then I think football, in everything is possible. And for Madrid as well, they should be very wary, because having too much stars within your rank sometimes might destabilize the game plan of a coach, because most of these big name players, these stars, they want to play an individualistic game. And of course, when you start playing an individual game in a football team that is meant to be a collective game, then the team that has more stars suffers, because most of the stars, when the ball gets to your feet, you want to, you know, caress the ball, you want to show skills and all of that, put some stunt, and, you know, and it will cost you. But a team that you least expect, like Atalanta, that is playing more like a unit football, they will have more purpose, because nobody wants to take the glory everybody want to play for the team and not for him, for self-glory. So I think that is where Real Madrid is going to get it wrong tonight. But then, all things being equal, ceteris paribus, I think Real Madrid will still have the upper hand going into this game tonight. But like I will keep saying, in football, don't rule out upsets.
Don't rule out upsets in football. And still talking about the encounter, Real Madrid midfielder Eduardo Camavinga will miss the start of the season after the Spanish club confirmed today he suffered a new ligament sprain. Spanish reports suggest the French international will be sidelined for up to 7 weeks, potentially missing Madrid's first matches in the Champions League in September and October. Camavinga suffered the injury on Tuesday during the training section when he slipped and collided with teammates Aurelien. Madrid midfielder Toni Kroos retired from football this summer, and Camavinga injury leaves the reigning Spanish and European champions thin in midfield ahead of the new season. But let's take a look at transfers as we hear that it's a tight situation for Victor Osimhen because the clubs that are coming for the man, talking about Chelsea, Arsenal, Paris Saint-Germain, they're unable to meet the buyer clause. This buyer clause of 120 million euros, and as well, his salary is also very huge at this point in time. So it is now bent on the man to see if Napoli can reduce his buyer clause, and as well for him to reduce his salary for maybe some clubs to see if they can get him, especially Chelsea Football Club. Because we're hearing that Chelsea are very close to seeing if they can get Victor Osimhen. What do you, advise Osimhen at this point in time? What do you think should be done for him to leave? Because he has said he wants to leave. That means his mind is no longer at Napoli Football Club.
I think the bulk of the problem lies on Napoli, who have refused to lower down the asking price. It's not even about Osimhen personal terms with clubs out there, because if Napoli has pushed, is ready to let him go, I think they should have lowered down their asking price, and that will give Victor Osimhen more like a soft landing to at least settle or have an agreement between his personal salary and the club side. So the major problem is not about Victor Osimhen personal, take with clubs. It's about Napoli asking price, and clubs are shying away from coughing out such heavy amount of money. Even Chelsea, I think they have a new way of doing their transfer right now. They don't cough out that heavy amount of money unlike they do before. So for me, they want to balance their book as well. So if Napoli could be able to lower down their asking price, I believe clubs like Paris Saint-Germain can revive their interest. Chelsea can revive their interest. Arsenal as well can even revive their interest, because don't forget, Arsenal doesn't have a center forward that is very reliable right now. The only one they have is Gabriel Jesus, and they cannot rely on Jesus to give you 20 to 25 goals per season. So, like I said, I think Napoli and the owner of the club should also think twice so that they let him go, because the new coach he brought in have said it very clear. He has made it ostensibly clear that Osimhen is not in his plan, and that is why he's pushing so hard to ensure that he tied down the deal of Romelu Lukaku. So for me, it would be a good deal if Napoli lowered down their price and let Osimhen go, so that if he is going, he's going on a clean slate, so that it will not be like he left acrimoniously, thereby putting him against the fans. Because if you don't live in a very nice way, the Italian fans, the way they behave, all the record that Victor Osimhen have created and the smile that he had been able to put in their faces last 2 seasons will not be remembered. So I think they should just find a way to strike a balance so that Victor Osimhen can leave.
All right, so still talking about Osimhen, a renowned Nigerian prophet, Primate Elijah Oyadele, has warned super striker Victor Osimhen regarding a potential move to Chelsea. The founder of a church in Nigeria cautioned that such a transfer could adversely affect Osimhen's career. In a recent video, Oyadele urged Osimhen to reconsider joining the London club, asserting that a move to Chelsea could hinder his performance and career progression. The Prophet further advised the Nigerian Football Federation to be cautious about calling up Osimhen to the national team if he joins Chelsea. Now, Chelsea, in their quest for a reliable goal scorer, have identified the Napoli hitman as a top target following a failed pursuit of Atletico Madrid Samuel Omoriodion. Michael, what do you make of this one? It's not getting spiritual at the moment, because a renowned prophet in Nigeria is saying Osimhen should not go to Chelsea, that this might hinder his career. He also advised the NFF that if he joins Chelsea, they shouldn't call him to the national team. What do you make of this?
I don't want to drag religiosity into football. Primate Ayodele is one man that sometimes he has always been very controversial in his prophetic declarations and assertions over the years. So I take that with a pinch of salt. You know, some time ago, when Nigeria played with, was it Ivory Coast in the African Cup of Nations, or Cameroon? It's either Cameroon or Ivory Coast. A certain prophet said that, you know, they were going to defeat Nigeria. If they did not defeat Nigeria, something was going to happen. At the end of it all, Nigeria actually defeated them and nothing happened. So most time, you don't bring religiosity into practical situations such as football. It's more like likened to you maybe playing, you want to play other teams, and then you are praying, God, help me to win. The next team as well is also praying, and God is not a partial God. So I think we should leave, you know, prophetic declaration and pronouncement upon Victor Osimhen. Let him just find a course to follow in his career.
We'll keep our fingers crossed and see how, you know, see where Victor Osimhen will land at the end of the day. But we'll call it to wrap up this point on the show. We'll be back tomorrow by 7 a.m. For Sports Talk. Do it to join us, as the promise to be under the exciting time talking sports on Atlantic Television Network. Michael, it's been an impressive time this evening.
Yes, I did enjoy myself here.
All right, don't forget, peace and unity is always the pathways to progress. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel. Thanks for watching.